Hello friends. The device that will be discussed in this video is a Zigbee temperature and humidity sensor with a display, which I purchased as a backup device for one of the rooms. The task is to maintain the operation of climate automations when the main sensor goes offline and to be able to see the current readings on the screen. I was not sure that I would make a review of it. The sensor is very ordinary. However, during its study, one important nuance was discovered, which does not matter to me, but for someone else may turn out to be critical. Therefore, I decided to make this small video, which can also serve as a kind of warning. More details further on, and before we begin, by tradition, I ask you to like this video so that more people interested in the topic of smart homes can find it, and also subscribe to my channel if you have not done so before. Device type, temperature and humidity sensor with a display. Interface, Zigbee 3.0. Model, ZY-ZTH03Pro. Measurement ranges. Temperature, from -9.9 to 60 degrees Celsius. Declared accuracy, 1 degree. Relative humidity, from 0 to 100%. Declared accuracy, 5%. Power supply, 2 AAA batteries. Dimensions, 75 by 44.4 by 17.5 millimeters. Weight, 38.5 grams. The device is supplied in a small cardboard box, on the front side of which a schematic image of the sensor with numbers on the screen is drawn, without any explanatory inscriptions. On the back, a label is unevenly attached, which indicates the model, ZY-ZTH03Pro. Below it is stated that this is a Tuya Zigbee temperature and humidity sensor for indoor use, and compatibility with Alexa and Google Assistant is also declared. Inside there is the sensor itself, with a film on the screen, a piece of double-sided adhesive tape, and a small universal manual, which, judging by the inscription, is suitable for Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, and Zigbee versions of the device. Moreover, there are two of the latter at once, Tuya Zigbee and Universal Zigbee 3.0. The sensor is designed for both wall-mounted and tabletop use. At the bottom it has small feet. On the right side, an opening is visible, possibly an air intake. The back side, here is the battery compartment, closed with a cover. 2 mounts for placement on screws are visible in the case of wall-mounted use. On the left side there is also an air intake opening. Under the cover there is a compartment for installing 2 AAA batteries. They are not included, so you need to provide your own. I installed lithium batteries with a voltage of 1.5 volts. Here is also the button for checking the connection and switching to pairing mode. When turned on, the current temperature and humidity values are displayed on the screen. The temperature is shown in slightly larger digits than the humidity. Immediately after being turned on, the device goes into pairing mode. It can also be put into pairing mode by holding the button on the back. Now let's move on to that very important nuance that I mentioned. The sensor is declared for use in the Tuya Smart ecosystem, so I decided to connect it to my gateway with support for Zigbee, Thread, and Matter, in order to also check whether it would appear in HomeKit. At first, everything went according to plan. The gateway detected the temperature and humidity sensor. But then everything ends with this kind of error. This means that the device is not authorized in the Tuya ecosystem and is blocked at the cloud level. That is, the manufacturer, despite the declared support for Tuya, did not obtain or complete official Tuya certification. The device lacks a registered Tuya product ID and a license to operate on the platform. As a result, the gateway sees the sensor at the Zigbee level, but Tuya rejects its registration, and the device cannot work in the Tuya ecosystem, regardless of settings, region, or reconnection attempts. For those who use the native ecosystem, the sensor is obviously not suitable. In my case, this problem does not matter, since I will be using the sensor with Home Assistant. For completeness of testing, let's check compatibility with the native integration for Zigbee devices, ZHA. For this, I use a USB Zigbee stick with SkyConnect firmware. I enable the mode for adding new devices on it, and put the sensor itself into pairing mode using the button. It is detected almost immediately and appears in the system. Everything works perfectly here. Entities with temperature, humidity, and battery level data are available, as well as standard ZHA objects that all devices connected to it have, the identification button, and the firmware version. By the way, I have never seen the firmware version displayed as anything other than unknown. In my working system, for working with Zigbee devices, the Zigbee2mqtt add-on is used. And not just one, but 3 at once, which work in parallel. The current version at the time of testing is 2.7.2. The sensor connects normally, without any problems. Here the model of the recognized device is displayed ZY-ZTH03. As can be seen in the image, this is a sensor without a display. This situation happens, it is normal, since these sensors use identical firmware, and the presence of a display for Zigbee2mqtt does not play any role. All entities are recognized and added: battery level values, temperature, humidity, as well as battery voltage in millivolts and signal quality level. These same values, as well as the firmware version check entity, unlike ZHA, it actually works for many devices, are passed to Home Assistant via the Mosquito broker and the MQTT integration. I will use this sensor in a room, together with a proven Xiaomi sensor that has been working for me for many years. In the future, the sensors will be located in different corners, and an averaged value of their readings will be used for calculations. But now, in order to compare the readings, and most importantly, the trends, I place the review subject next to the sensor currently in use. In my working system, I store data only from those devices that I need, specifying them manually in the recorder section. Therefore, in order to see changes in readings, I also add the sensors of this device. At the same time, I add custom names to the customization section in the same package. This does not affect the logic or use of the device in any way. It is purely for convenience. After a few hours, I check the current values. On the left, data from the Xiaomi sensor, which I have been using for many years and which provides quite accurate readings. On the right, the review subject. The temperature differs by only 0.15 degrees upward, and possibly even less, since the data here is rounded to tenths. The humidity is lower by 3.65%, but rounding also plays a role here. Both parameters fall within the manufacturer-declared error, 1 degree Celsius and 5% humidity. To compare trends, more time is needed. Here graphs of both sensors over a period of 18 hours are shown. Blue, Xiaomi. Orange, the review subject. Here it is clearly visible that both the data transmission frequency, which depends on temperature changes, the greater the difference, the more often data is sent, and the readings themselves are very similar, practically identical. This fully suits my task, obtaining average data and duplication in case one of the sensors drops out. As for humidity, here the shape of the graph also practically coincides, and this is the most important thing. This confirms that the sensor adequately responds to changes in humidity. In numbers, the readings differ by 3 to 4%, which fits within the declared error. In this case, I am more inclined to trust the data from the Xiaomi sensor, so I will use the data from the review subject via a template, applying a correction of 3.5 to 4%. Based on the test results, I can conclude that for the purpose I set, the sensor is fully suitable, since it is used in Zigbee2mqtt, where it has full support. Temperature and humidity readings are adequate, taking into account the introduction of a static humidity correction. I did not open a dispute about the discrepancy. About the fact that my sensor is not supported in the Tuya system, I see no point. But for users of the native Tuya Smart/Smart Life ecosystem, I would recommend looking at another model, so as not to take risks. That's all. I hope this video was interesting and useful for you. I would be grateful for your likes. They help promote the video on YouTube. If you are not yet subscribed to my channel, now is the time to do it right now. In the description under the video, you will find all the necessary links to stores where you can purchase this sensor, as well as to my social networks, Telegram channels, and a group for discussing smart home topics. Join in, it will be interesting. Thank you for your attention. See you next time, and peace to everyone.